Hi, welcome to video number 1. My name's Philip Crone, and my channel is called Success, Hope, and Encouragement. A lot of things I want to accomplish in this channel, a lot of things I need to get off my chest, but most importantly, I'm hoping I can help some people. I'm going to dive right in and kind of start with a book that I wrote. Some of you are aware of, some of you probably don't want to hear about it. But I wrote a motivational book about 12 years ago called A Little Bit Over a Long Period of Time. And it was probably one of the hardest things I ever did in my life, because the way I'm wired, I'm more of a big picture guy versus a detailed guy, but quite an accomplishment for me to get it written. But I want to dive right in today and tell you a little bit about the book, because after 12 years, really nothing has changed. I've added a lot to it. Certainly my faith is stronger than ever, and that's not in the book. And there's a few other stories that I want to share with you that are not in the book. But there are many principles in the book that I think are still exciting, I still use every day, and I think they can help you. So who is you? I really believe my target audience for this channel are high school seniors, college graduates, or midlife crisis people, those who feel like you're stuck. There's a lot of different ways to achieve success out there. All I'm doing is sharing my way. I'm not trying to tell anybody what you should do. I'm just trying to share with you what worked for me. And to put a little sizzle in this, and I'm going to go into my story in just a minute, but I was one of those people that wanted to be a millionaire since I was a young kid. And somewhere during college, the fire was ignited, and I was going to be a millionaire before I was 30 years old. Well, as you'll hear in my story, that didn't exactly turn out that way, but I did become a multimillionaire by the time I was 35. And I really hate to use that word, but you know, in the terms of sizzle and maybe getting people attracted to this channel, I think you'd rather hear a success story from someone who made a lot of money versus someone who was down and out and tried a lot of things and they didn't work. So I'm really convinced that many of these theories that I'm going to talk about are cast in stone. You'll hear me joke that I think a lot of them were written 2,000 years ago in Proverbs. But anyway, let's dive right into it. So I wrote my book A Little Bit Over a Long Period of Time 12 years ago. And I'm going to share with you right now a little bit of my story, but why the title is A Little Bit Over a Long Period of Time. It's really a play off of words, the tortoise and the hare. Many people in life are trying to get rich quickly over a short period of time, and as we all know, it's either illegal or lucky if you can make it that way. But let me kind of tell you my quick story. I like to always start out with I'm the luckiest guy in the world, because I was adopted as a 2-week-old in 1962 from what I understand was a 15-year-old mother. We'll get into that in future episodes. I'll talk a little bit about adoption and the fact that my wife's adopted and what have you. But just to kind of set the stage, I'm going to go through my life, hopefully in about 2 minutes here. Grew up Midwest, small town called Wyoming, Illinois, or as I like to refer as Mayberry, RFD. Great people, Midwestern values. And my whole life I was a little bit of a renegade, I probably would have to admit. I always felt a little bit different, and I don't know if that's because I was adopted or if it's just my genetics that wanted me to be a pioneer. I really changed a lot when I went to college. One of the pivotal moments in my life in college, and I'll give a shout out here to my college freshman roommate, Joel. I won't say last names in this, but he was a long distance runner. He got me into jogging, and jogging, I'd have to say, changed my life. And here we are, I think 37 years later, I'm still jogging 5 days a week. I've never stopped, never quit. That was a very important part of my life because it gave me discipline, gave me confidence, and some other things that I'll get into in the future. But let me just say my life really changed because of that. When I graduated Southern Illinois University in 1980, really had some choices of where I was going to go. And I knew I didn't want to go back to my little small town because as much as I loved the people there and had some great friends, opportunities weren't really prevalent. You were basically, to be very successful, you either worked at Caterpillar or you were a farmer. And that didn't really feel like a calling for me. So I packed up, and I joke now, my Pinto and $200 and some Bose speakers, and had a wonderful aunt and uncle down in Dunedin, Florida, who said they'd put me up while I was looking for a job. And another period of my life I'll go to in a future video that was very hard. It didn't come easily. But let's just say after a lot of great effort and hard work, I stumbled into the computer industry. And life's all about timing. Did very well in sales as a young person. I'm 23 to 27 years old during this stage. Had a situation, started my first company in the mid 80s, and had some partner problems. Started over again, packed up with my fiance. We moved here to where I live now in Atlanta, Georgia in 1988. And through some course of events that I'll get into in some future videos, went into business with a person and did very well, and sold a computer company to a publicly traded company in 1997. And that's the point, age 35 at that time, when I became multimillionaire and essentially retired. And that was 20 and a half years ago. So after my retirement, golfing every day, I kind of got a bit bored. And I had a lot of my former salespeople said, hey, you need to write a book about a lot of the things you were preaching in sales meetings. So that's when I wrote the book. So the title was a little bit of a long period of time because what I didn't tell you in that story, and again, I'm going to get into some of these details in future videos, was by the age of 30, I was about $80,000 in debt on borrowed money. And that was my point in my life. Come to Jesus moment, found God, a lot of things that I'll get into in very distant videos. But many changes happened. A wife that wanted to divorce me, and I was at kind of crossroads in my life. And I was at Hilton Head, South Carolina, jogging like normal. And that's when I had my, I guess, epiphany or angel moment. I saw this giant tree, oak tree. It must have been 200 years old, and it was almost yelling at me or singing to me or glowing. It's hard to explain, but it was almost as though it said, God said, the universe said, listen, idiot, you want to be a 200-year-old successful oak tree, Warren Buffett? Well, it started as a seed and grew just a little bit every day. So anyway, you get the picture of how a tree can grow every day for 200 years and start as something very small, and just growing a little bit every year becomes something very substantial. That's pretty much what I modeled everything off on my life, and ironically it had already started with the jogging part many years before that. So when I wrote the book, this is 2007, I hit the speaking circuit, started mentoring a lot of people around town, and still was golfing every day, had aspirations of becoming a golf professional, and had the time and the money to do it. But my whole life have been very interested in success and theories and books, and I'll get into that here in some future videos. But for today's purposes, I just wanted to set the stage and sort of tell you how I came up with the book and what a little bit of a long period of time is all about. So in future videos, we're going to go pretty much through the book, step by step, of kind of theories that I came up with that I think you can implement into your own life if needed, and hopefully make some changes. So I'd like to thank you all for welcoming me into your video life, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.